we got back to the hotel I could forget it. Her words almost dripping with disdain and venom, also loud enough so several people around us heard. Our friends didn't know where to look or what to say. My wife told me to shift because she needed to use the bathroom. At this point, something inside me just snapped and I got up, apologized to our friends informing them I was leaving and I hoped they enjoyed the rest of the show. I'd received a text message from my friends just as I got back to our hotel room, informing me they'd told my wife that I'd left and that she just shrugged her shoulders. Still seething with mounting anger, I decided I was heading home. So I packed my clothes, caught a taxi to the nearest train station, and managed to get the last train home. This morning I made the decision to relocate to the guest room. I noticed I needed some new bedroom furniture, so I headed down to IKEA. I've given up building flat packs for the day. My wife, however, has asked what the new furniture is, but I think she realized when she noticed my clothes and other personal items weren't in the master bedroom. She didn't say anything to me until about an hour ago when she asked me why I was being so childish. I politely explained the previous canceled date nights in favor of her friends, and she, in my opinion, completely unnecessarily outburst at me during the intermission at the theater. She just shrugged her shoulders again and asked if intimacy was all I was interested in. I brought up the issue of her attitude when I picked her up from work Friday afternoon with the intent of surprising her. She told me to deal with it. Update 1. My wife's best friend contacted me and asked what had gone on, as apparently, my wife had told her only part of what happened. So I filled her in on all the gory details. To say she was shocked was an understatement. She proceeded to ask me what I planned to do, considering I was planning a trip to Paris for our anniversary later in the year. I stated that the trip wasn't going ahead because of her actions at the theater. My darling wife still hasn't apologized for her actions/outburst. She still claims that she may have overreacted slightly, to her exact words. Beth promptly called my wife and put her on speakerphone. Beth then proceeded to tear her a new one and, to add insult to injury, spilled the beans about the proposed trip to Paris for our anniversary. My wife proceeded to gush, saying that she knew I'd get over it as I couldn't say no to her. Her happy mood disappeared when Beth informed her that I'd canceled the trip not 10 minutes ago. I've also spoken to a solicitor concerning a separation and eventual divorce. I recently renewed my passport, and when it arrived, my wife's first reaction was to ask if the trip to Paris was back on. I replied, or rather snapped back at her, that no, it wasn't back on and the possibility of it ever being planned again was virtually zero. She then proceeded to ask if that was the case and why did I bother renewing my passport. I replied by stating that I have almost 2 months of holiday time saved up from last year and this year, so I'm planning on flying out to California to see an old friend. Her jaw dropped to the floor. She appeared to be trying to say something but nothing was coming out. Yesterday morning when I got in from work, I found her sitting at the kitchen table along with Beth. My wife appeared to have been crying by the look of her eyes and face. I then reached into my bag, pulled out 2 A4 envelopes, and placed them on the table in front of her. I then explained the contents of the envelopes. The first one contained a rough draft of a separation agreement drawn up by my lawyer, which would likely end in us getting divorced. At hearing my words, she started bawling her eyes out again. Her friend calmed her down and asked her what she thought I'd do, as she mentioned that during our conversation Beth had picked up on my cold demeanor and tone. Beth also suggested that my wife had pushed me too far when she humiliated me in front of our friends after I went to the trouble of organizing